That's what my dad used me for, honey, to go get him water and one cup. I got another little part for you. But anyway, my mama come down the hall and she said, you didn't hear me call you? I said, yes, ma'am, I was coming. Okay, you probably need to make it back here. I said, okay. So I got up. My mama then walked to the back. I don't know what's going on. Sure enough, man, I got back there. Who's sitting in her favorite chair in her bedroom with a 38 sitting in her lap? I looked at my mama. It was a 22. I didn't know. I was scared. I was here to 10. I ain't been to church. This is a true story. I'm not making this up. I remember you saying, look here, next time when I call you and you act like you want to show me some disrespect, and you stop right there, I got your point from that point on, Mom. And every day, I knew when I was 15, I said, I got to get out of this house, because if I don't, either you or that man was going to do something to me. Now, I kind of wish I could do that with a kid today, but you know, you got to treat them a different way. So, I'm not saying that's the way you raised me, but that's the point I got out of that message. So, to sum it up, Mama, I love you. Thank you. Tom Mattox. Yeah, the one that's sitting up here looking like Santa or something. Man, the oldest brother of 12 kids. Boy, the oldest brother and third in the family, the oldest boy. I don't know if you know what you were doing when you were raising me. I didn't mean that in a bad way. I'm just saying, you know, his way of raising me, I think you thought you had 5, 6 other kids, but I was only one damn, I'm here to tell you. And I want to share that because I was the only one dealing with you and Mama, since I ain't had no other siblings, I learned to tell the truth growing up. But I couldn't lie on nobody else. My dad is a special dude to me, and it took time for me to learn it. And that's where the name Thomas, Bubba came about when I was born by my mom's mom. When I was born, I was called Bubba, and that name stuck ever since. And as I was growing up, a few people called me Thomas, but it was kind of confusing because every time you call Thomas and I was with my dad, would be out, what you need? You know, so that's how the name Bubba stuck. But it grew on me to say, stay with Bubba, because I knew I could not walk in that man's shoes. And I started learning that as time passed. When I gave you that flag, I could have gave it to anybody else, but when I gave you that flag, Dad, that flag was sentimental because when you came in and you fought over in Vietnam, your first training facility was Fort Jackson. When you came into the Army. That's an Army base. The last training facility for me before I went overseas was Fort Jackson. They flew that flag over Fort Jackson. So it meant a lot for me to have my father here today. Again, there are some people who don't have their fathers. To be able to give you that flag while I'm living. Because I appreciate you so much for what you tried to do and what you have done. Being my father, being called Tom C. And I want you and everybody else to know, I love the name Thomas Mattox. But I wanted to give you all the honor that those shoes can never be filled. So I stepped aside to be called Bubba and stayed with it. And even to this day, even if I was to be called Thomas, it would be an honor. That's the reason why I was so much on talking to you last night. I'm glad that you're better today, so I can give you that flag while we're both looking at each other. Thank you. While you was in Vietnam, you told me about the things that you saw, the things that you experienced, the leadership. And one of the things you told me back then is that you never saw an African American officer, that you never saw senior enlisted African Americans. I took that concept and I developed it into my retirement, because I know for Vietnam vets, when they come back, they didn't get no fanfare. A lot of them came back, families were broken. Some of them didn't get back. Some of them were body parts. But my father made it back. That's why I'm here today. But once he got back, he went to college, he met his wife. Next thing, here I am. And for that, I decided I would make my whole flag team officers, African Americans, but more importantly, I remember you saying you never saw females. Well, there you go. And the side boys, the best in the business. Some of them are in my ceremonial, some of them are sitting out there in those pews. There are some that have retired. I just want you to see that even in the Navy, even in the Army, even in the Air Force and the Marines, but especially since this is a Navy, that we have evolved. And I want you to see that. That's right. All right? November the 19th, 2003. Who could I be talking about? Aaron Javon Mattox. Brother, I know you saw a couple of pictures. You still don't understand for a 9-year-old. Amen? You just don't understand. You're my only child, my only son. You were one of 3. You was the middle boy. You was born at the 6-month mark. Most babies are born at 9. You came in weighing 1 pound, 7 ounces at 9:34 at Shands Hospital. When that doctor came and told me, Mr. Mattox, we're going to have to pull your son. Your wife has preeclampsia, and her pressure is so high, we're not sure she's going to make it. And I looked at the doctor and I said, well, do what you got to do. I knew that moment that there was a chance. But in my heart, I knew that when they were going to get you, that when you came out, you were going to fight. For somebody I didn't even recognize. Son, you see my wedding ring? This thing went up your leg and your arm. That's just how small you was. We didn't even know who you looked like. But because your mother was so sick, she had to give you birth early. That doctor came in that room, he pulled me outside and said, son, your son's got between a 20 to 25% chance to live. I don't think I even shared that with Phyllis till sometime later. Mind you, she was sick. AJ stayed in the hospital for 6 months. 6 months, people. When the doctor tell me that, I saw 5 other babies that didn't make it. My son pulled through all of that. It took 3 months before I got a chance to hold you. So with those surgeries, through all that, I had to leave. I had to fly off the carrier to come back to see about you because they weren't too short even at that 4-month mark. He fought through all of that. At the 6-month mark, when AJ got up to 5 pounds, we had to take that boy home on a feed machine with a tube. That's the only way he fed. You hear me, sir? Are you hear me? I see. I just want people to know my story dealing with him. He survived when others didn't. And exchange. One day I'm going to take you over there so you can see it. You got the scars and everything, but I knew you was a fighter. And I appreciate that, because every day when I'm dealing with what I got to deal with, I think about what you went through, and you didn't even know it. And you're 9 years old, and you don't have not one problem. That's a blessing. Fall 1999. Savannah State homecoming. I'm walking up in the stands, doing what I do. Game over. I think we won. Did we win that? Oh, you don't even know. You still in the stand mad about something. Anyway, I'm walking up in the stands, and who was sitting up there beside my dad? It was Miss Oliver and Phyllis. And I don't even think my dad even knew. I met her the day before, but it was through a friend of mine. But you know, they were friends, and I said hello to her and kept going. I realized that I had met her the day before, but you were sitting there thinking that you were introducing us. I'm gonna give you slight credit. Anyway, this was in '99. By that time, I'd already moved to Jacksonville, setting up my networking for my mafia thing. And I had a chance to talk to her. She showed up at my house a couple of months later. Noticed that my house was set up and thought that I had somebody already. But you didn't know. I was taught how to keep my house clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. So I think that kind of won you over, because you was too used to dealing with little cats in college, wearing little hair, little silk shoes, hands in the bathroom, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, lo and behold, it took 4 years later for me to realize that even while I didn't commit to her until late 2002, December, when she had just graduated from Savannah State with her master's, I realized that she was the one. And for a couple of reasons. I heard a couple of great things about you. And I figured, you know, we can put these genes together and we can make a great child. If most folks don't know, my wife played tennis at Savannah State. And she finished with one of the top players in Black College for 3 years, back in the late 90s. She was Serena before Serena. And I saw that. And I changed her to a dude. And I got broke off, 6 love, 6 love. So I figured the word love meant song. So I had to put it to work. So I made that woman my wife. I'm gonna tell you know, when you say those vows sometimes, as you get older, me and my wife have been married 10 years, you can almost take it for granted. Matter of fact, as of April, 10 years, so 10 years forward. You can almost take it for granted if you don't really pay attention to the details. And you know, you sit there, you always take the blessings of God. And I sat there and I thought about it. I said, okay, we can do this. You know, I'm that type of dude. I think we can do this. From the moment that we had AJ, life throws you some curveballs. When I spoke about AJ having to be born early, my wife got sick, dealing with preeclampsia. Can't spell it, but y'all know how to do it. Y'all got your phone. She developed post-eclampsia, which means she had to stay in the hospital for a little while too. So here I am, a man at home with no son and no wife. Mind you, this is within my first year of our marriage. Also in that same year, that's when we lost our first son, our first child. AJ was the second. To start seeing all this stuff come, I'm sitting there saying, through sickness and through health, sickness and health, sickness and health. There's a reason why things happen. I had to go. I stood out in front of my church, the house of prayer. I didn't tell you about this. This is the first time you hear about it. I went to the house of prayer. I stood out in front. And I just dropped on my knees and I took a prayer. And I said, man, I don't know where you're taking me, God, but I hope it's a great place because I found a wonderful woman. And I hope you're not taking her away from her. Well, obviously, he didn't feel like he wanted to take you away from her because he felt like there were still things we needed to work on. Moving forward, after AJ was blessed with the news, we kept it to ourselves that she was pregnant again. It wasn't a deck of cards for us to have that third or the second. I just took it upon that, hey, God got an answer to all this. I'm not going to question it. We moved on. My wife got sick again in May 2007. She was told that she had breast cancer. Now, I know people talk about cancer. It's one thing to deal with somebody that you know from afar and to say, hey, man, whatever I can do for you. It's another when it's a part of you and it changes up the dynamics in your family. Now here I am, a young 30-something-year-old. She in her late 20s. I'm saying, why are we being challenged like this? Again, I said I wouldn't challenge God. It's no need. I know he has the answer. So we took it head on. We fought it. Got past it. A year later, got told again she had cancer. Wow. Now mind you, nothing affected me physically, but it affected her. I'm the husband. Sickness and in health. Listen to those vows, Lord. Stay down. Yes, sir, God, I got you. We fought it. She got past it. Just last year, she got told that it came back. I say this all to say this, fellas. We've been dealt curveballs. But I'm there. I'm there. You're dealing with it now. You're a cancer survivor. You're stronger than anything I've ever seen. And I knew going back to when I said we challenged in that tennis match, there was something that I saw in you that I didn't see in other women. And obviously it was paying dividends. Because you're strong, and I want you to know that I'm strong for you. I'm not going anywhere. I know when you was dealing with that, you were going through things, and we ain't gonna lie. We'll talk about many things. And I know she was wondering if I was gonna leave, and I looked at this woman like she had lost her mind. I said, look here, through sickness and in health. I watched my parents, they're married today, about to be 43 years solid. I was raised with a foundation that you stick with your wife, regardless. Even when I was challenged to come off my department head tour to take care of you and him, when I didn't finish it up, a lot of people look at me 20 years, I'm just a lieutenant commander. I didn't get passed over. God had a reason for me for today, because when I walk out of here, and they say Navy family, go on the show, I get to go out of here with my family. Everybody can't say it. There's some guys who got their same wife, there's some women that got their same husband. There's some that's gone through 2 marriages, 3 marriages. I'm still on mine, 1. Going through the things that we going through. It ain't easy. Trust me, it ain't easy. But I never give it up. And as long as I see you trying, your boy, not the Don Dollar, your boy, Mr. Onion, what we call? Big Daddy? Yeah. I'm there for you. Now, this is a retirement. I don't like to call it retirement. I'm 42 years young. I'm moving on to do something. Please understand. So don't think that long list that you got is going to hold a brother down. But there was something else I wanted to do. Person that's up here, we keep talking about Lieutenant Commander Mattox. And like I said, my ceremony is a show. And there's one other thing I want to do. Mr. Campbell, get your present, sir. Now, when we got married back in April 2003, your sister wasn't there. Wasn't their fault, they was overseas. Well, 10 years tend to be special for a lot of people. Because you normally get that 5-year itch, but we got past that. And just because our reception, our 10-year reunion was just last month, I want you to join me up here on the stage.
So we thank God for this occasion on 4 April of 2003 that they joined hands together. And how we hope that the marriage is sacred in the eyes of Christ. And God honors the marriage. And truly we can say that you have fulfilled the obligations of the Bible. And you have, with the honor, courage, commitment, and all these things, but to sickness and death and to hell. And I can say the brother came to me years ago and he said something about age when he was premature and how you guys had lost a kid. We lost 4 kids. So I could relate to him when he told me on the court. And he said, Mike, just pray for me. He said, we're going through some things. I said, the God that I serve could do it for me and my wife. He'll do it for me. I said, because God has no respect for a person according to the gospel of Romans 2:11. So I said, if he did for us, we lost 2 and 1. We lost 2 and 1. So I can relate to the sort of brought tears to my eyes when he's saying that. So I know AJ is special, but so are you. Because the Bible said he didn't find a wife, find favor with God. And everybody don't have favor, but number 5 is favor in grace. Everybody don't have favor. Favor ain't fair. So sometimes we go through things in life. So when Bubba approached me, I said, Bubba, I think we need to do something different this time. I said, because now I'm not disrespecting him, I'm not calling him Lieutenant Commander, but I've always known him as Bubba. Matter of fact, when I had to do his 1099, I asked him, what's his real name? He said, what's your name? Bubba. I said, I came from Bubba on 1099. He said, well, my real name comes when I go by Bubba. So I've been calling him Bubba since. But we thank God for this time that I told God that we need to do something unique and special. So at this time, I want Bubba to rededicate his life back to Phyllis.
said to that woman there was true. And I wanted her to see it, and I want y'all to see it. Because it wasn't just about us. It's about you all. It took you all coming here to see that. And again, from me and her, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Both post aside orders. Ladies and gentlemen, those who are standing, remain standing. Those who are seated, please stand for the benediction.
Just want to say a couple words for Bubba. He asked me to say a couple things, and I won't be before you long, but Bubba's always the type like be in charge. Y'all know that, don't you? He was a plank owner of the ship, but let me just say this. He thinks he's a plank owner of the jail. And just want to say a short story with you, but Bubba is a referee. And I remember one game we were playing the championship that night. He trying to tell me and my partner what to do. I'll never forget, Philly, he tried to block a jump shot. I called a foul on him. Bubba run up on me, asked me what I called, knowing he can't jump but a feet tall. So I looked at my partner and I said, what's wrong with this guy? You know, because he's the number 1 official in Sabo. You know, I'm a number 4 official in Armed Forces. So I looked at it. We kept calling the game. So I happened to look out there and see my partner. So Marshall called the call on him. About the same jump by the feet. He rushed up on us. What you call it? Y'all call it like high school officials, man. I said, wait a minute, aren't you a high school official? And he running up on me and Marshall like, hey, y'all call it wrong game. I'm gonna talk to Rita about this. I said, well, you can talk about it. You want to love. You're an official, you should understand what we're going through out here. Don't put us in the equation, you're the man. Because you know Bubba talk trash now. Because he think he owned the gym. Now let me tell you, if you talk to anybody about Mayport Gym, they don't tow it down there. Bubba said that's his gym. So in other words, what he telling me is, they the basketball champs of Graybeard. And nobody's better than Bubba. But I'll never forget that game. Bubba was talking trash, this guy was competing, and Bubba said, let me show this young buck something. You know, Bubba ran back. He like, y'all look, anybody know what I'm talking about? He like, go to the chest out there, whatever you got. But Bubba ran back and popped a couple jumpers, and me and Marsh looked at this dude. I said, man, what's going on with him? He said, look, y'all got to call the game tight now.